Hello, Cruising World, Mick the Suit Guy with you. It's Monday. Monday is tips day. We're back on Kelly's tips. She sent me these 37, well, they're not tips, apparently, although she wrote tips. I was corrected by Julie listening to me doing this recording when she said these aren't tips. They are questions that she sees constantly and is fed up with seeing and would like me to put them to bed once and for all. So the 15 or 20 people of you that will actually watch this will stop them from ever being on the internet again. So what I'm doing is I've got like numbers compared to, because I've not read them, so I got 37. I'm going to pull a number out of the hat, out of this box, and I'm going to attempt to answer. Hopefully I know the answers, and if I don't, guess who's going to answer? You lot in the comments. So we'll see. First one this week. We're going to go with number 26. Number 26. Can I leave my towel on a chair in Serenity or on the Lido deck when I'm not there? Oh, God. Well, let's start with controversy, shall we? Isn't this probably the number one pet peeve that people have on a cruise ship? Towel. What's the word they use for that? I forget. Well, let me just say before, the answer is yes, you can, but not for very long. And it typically should only be when you're going to get lunch or get a drink or go to the restroom or whatever. So you should go in the morning and sit. Don't go in the morning, put a towel down and come back 2 or 3 hours later because your towel will be gone. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I believe it's 40 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. I don't know what the actual time is, but there's a set time that they will allow a chair to be left unattended, and then they allegedly will remove that towel so other people can sit there. So be aware, make sure when you go, know how long that time frame is. And if you're more than that time, don't get upset or angry if it's not there when you get back. It's a first come, first served, and there's not enough chairs for everybody. So, shame on you if you feel entitled enough that you should be able to go down and put a towel down and expect it to be there hours later. It is not your property. It is not your property. You are just sitting there and renting it for free for a short time. And sharing is caring. I once went on, and I've told this story before, and I said this in a video, and somebody came in the comments and said how much he hates me because he's watched my videos and doesn't like anything I do or say, and I don't know what I'm talking about. This is a while ago. And also proceeded to say that if he ever caught me doing that to his towel, he would break my arm. So I went on his Facebook page and had a quick look at his, pictures on there, and he was big into wrestling, and he was a big boy. He probably could break my arm, but you know what? I'd still move his towel. Don't do it. Selfish. Sharing is caring. You get a set time. If you have to go take a break where you can leave that unattended, longer than that, towel is gone. And I actually might go on a cruise once on my own and just sit there at the Red Frog pub on Lido with my red stripes, and I'm just going to watch. And I'm going to have my timer on. I'm going to be like towel police. And I'm going to be like, I'll have a little chart and I'll write it down. And boom, I'll go move them. See what happens. Oh, is this number 6 or is this number 9? I think it's number 9. We're going to go with number 9. Number 9. Where can I smoke? Well, that's an open-ended question. I can't really... every ship is different. So when you get on the ship, check where the smoking areas are. You cannot smoke in your cabin. There's a big fine if you get caught smoking in the cabin. There are designated smoking areas on the ship, and they are the only places you are allowed to smoke. And even in those areas, there are times when you cannot smoke, like if the ship is refueling and all that good stuff. I would suggest when you get on board, look at the ship's map and see where the smoking areas are, familiarize yourself with them, and make sure you only go there to smoke, and make sure you only smoke at times you are allowed to smoke. Once you've refueled, there's pretty much no other times when you can't on the ship, but there's definitely times when you can't anywhere on the ship. Pay attention, read the notices. In my experience, I don't smoke, but typically I've noticed that the smoking area is usually on the starboard side, the right side of the ship, towards the back, up to about the middle, never really towards the front. On the Lido deck, that is, and sometimes if there's a lanai, maybe on deck 5, but that. And in the casino, obviously, some casinos have non-smoking areas, but they're tiny areas. They tried many years ago, I think it was the Paradise, to make the entire casino non-smoking, and their profits went down. So they will never do a non-smoking casino as a full, I doubt, ever again. But yeah, so they're really the only main areas you should be able to smoke. But I'm not sure if it's on the hub or not, whether there's an area where you can look for smoking sections on the hub. I'm sure there is. It's not something I've ever looked for because I don't smoke. But yeah, if anybody knows if it's on the hub, please put it in the comments. But yeah, check on board where the smoking areas are and stick to them. Don't risk smoking somewhere you're not supposed to, because the fines can be heavy. And there'll be big fines. I think it's like $500 fine if you're caught smoking in your cabin. There you go. All right. Not really an answer to that. It was more just like an overview. Number 22. Number 22. We're going to do 5 of these. I think. How many have I got left? Yeah, we're going to do 5 of these, and I got enough for 2 more weeks. Where's number 22? What if I do a private excursion and they are late? Oh, and right above it, it says, what if I do a carnival excursion and they are late getting us to the port? Couldn't help but notice that. So I'll answer both these in one, and if the other number comes out at some point, we'll just ignore it. Obviously, 2 different answers to this question. Well, not really. It's the same thing. This isn't a question about back to the ship. Or is it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I read this wrong. I read this as if the ship was getting in late. So ignore that. What if I do a carnival excursion and they are late getting us to the port? I'm reading that as getting back to the port at the end of the excursion. So on a carnival excursion, they will wait, yes. On a private excursion, they'll wait for a little while, but they won't wait forever. The ship will leave and leave you alongside. Having said that, I have now done, I think my next cruise is my 65th Carnival cruise. And like most people, for the first 7 or 8 cruises I did, I fell into the trap of believing Carnival's scare tactics that the ship will leave if you do a private excursion. So never do a private excursion. Please pay extra for the Carnival excursion. Please go on a much more crowded excursion. Please do an excursion where you'll get less for your money than you would doing a private excursion. Why do I say that last line? I'll give an example. We were doing a private walking food tour in Puerto Rico, and during the tour, which was just Julie and I, it's not always that small, but this was just Julie and I, our guide pointed out the Carnival tour was across the other side of the street. There was like 30 of them, and they were going to 2 less restaurants than we were because Carnival took such a big kick out of the money. They only had so much money to spend on the tour because Carnival gets kickbacks. Understandably, to run the business, they got to do that. If you go directly through a private excursion company, you get more value for money because their expenses, their overhead is less because they haven't got to pay Carnival for the ride. So also we use the 2 main companies we use. Most common one is Viator. Most people have heard through TripAdvisor. They link together, I believe. But we don't really use them. I don't like Viator. I think they overprice as well. We use Project Expedition as my number 1 choice. And if we're in a group and we want to go out more of a, private tours and stuff, we'll go with Tours by Locals, which is good value if you have a big group. It's not terrible if you have a smaller group, but it can be quite pricey if there's just a couple of you. Now, both those companies, on almost every excursion they do, will give you a back to ship guarantee. So that they know they're going to get you back to the ship. I always have a rule, like a 2-hour rule, just in case there's any delay. And they know. Picture this, right? If I'm on a Project Expedition excursion and they're late back to the ship and I miss the ship, I'm going to go online and complain. I'm going to go online and write a bad review. People will see that review and they will stop using Project Expedition. So they have a guarantee to get you back to the ship within these contracts. The same as Carnival does. They've got contacts at the port. If you're running late, they will contact somebody ahead and say, listen, we're 10 minutes out, please, blah, blah, blah. I can't say it's never happened. The closest I've ever come, and since cruise number 10, when I realized that Carnival were just trying to scare you, I've very rarely done Carnival excursions, only if I have no other choice will I do a Carnival excursion. And the closest I ever came to missing the port was a 1 hour out. You know, so I have no worries whatsoever using local companies. I just do my homework. I make sure that the tour has enough time to leave a window at the end just in case of traffic and something like that, which was the problem with the 1 hour thing. There was an accident on the road, but I'd give myself plenty of buffer to get back to the ship. So, you know, the money I've saved on not doing Carnival Excursions, the enjoyment I've had on them not being like this packed to the rafters when you go on the tours, and also the value for money I get because I do more on the tour, way outdoes the risk of missing the port. It's a risk I'm prepared to take because I know that the chance of missing the ship, while there is one, is very, very, very slim. So the pros outdo the cons for me. So that's the difference between a Carnival and a private one. Yes, Carnival, they're going to wait for you. Private, they're not. But private's not going to be late. I can't say not. Very, very small chance of them being late. As long as you don't book a private tour that's not scheduled to get back until the time the ship leaves. Give yourself a buffer. All right. How many have I done? What's that? 1, 2, 3. I've got 2 more. 2 more? How many things did I throw? 3. I've got 2 more. All right. Number 37. Whoops, that's the last one, I think. No, what's wrong with? Oh, should people wear a hat in the dining room? Well, there's a controversial. I don't want to take it yet. There's a controversial one. I would say 5 to 10 years ago, a much bigger deal wearing a hat in the dining room. People's attitudes 5 to 10 years ago were very, very different. Formal night was way more, what's the word I'm looking for? Done is the wrong word. Way more attended, informal outfits. 5 to 10 years ago, you could still rent a tuxedo from the ship for formal night if you wanted to. You won't see that anymore, or I haven't seen that in forever. They may still have it. I don't think so. There'll be a whole hubbub in the salon, people getting their hair done for formal night. It was a big, big deal 5, 10 years ago. Now, it's not really a big deal at all. It's just, oh, we're going to get lobster tonight. That's the main attraction of formal night. You know, to me, what I see from people and talking to people. So people don't take formal night as importantly. I'm using terrible wording today. With the hat, kind of linked, you know, with that. I know a lot, maybe old school people don't really like people wearing a hat in the dining room. The big one comes when it's like, I know a lot of people like to wear their military hats to show their service, like Vietnam vet, World War II vet caps, you know, and stuff. And I think it's great that people do that. It gives me the opportunity to thank them for their service. I myself was in the British Navy for 6 years, so I really appreciate what people do, and I like to thank them. I like to go to military appreciation service that they do once a cruise. I like to go to all that stuff. So are you going to tell them they can't wear that in the dining room? You know, I don't know. Where do you? I have a lot of this. Where do you draw the line? You know, and is it really impacting? If you're sitting at this table here and somebody over there is wearing a hat, is that ruining your dinner today? Attitudes have changed. 5, 10 years ago and beyond, before that, yes, I understand people would get a lot more upset. It was a lot more traditional not to wear a hat in the dining room. I think today it's changed, and I think it's time to say it's your decision. Do what you feel comfortable with. You know, what if they don't like the fact you're not wearing a hat? Ever think about that? Ooh, do you see what I did? See what I did there? So I think leave it at the choice of the person there. If it offends you, go sit somewhere else. Especially in the military hats. That could cause a big problem if you told somebody to take that hat. If you were wearing a World War II veteran's hat, and how many World War II vets do we still have with us, unfortunately? You know, and you're going to tell them to take that hat off? And if you're not going to tell them to take that hat off, why should you tell somebody wearing a Padres hat or a Buccaneers hat to take that hat off? You know, it's tough. It's tough. I get some people like the traditional side of it, but I think that to this day and age, you know, let people make their own decision on that. Number 32, the last one for this week. Number 32. What is number 32? What is the best time to have your room steward clean your room? Well, I mean, again, that's up to you. Do it when you want to do it. You can either do it in the morning or in the evening. There used to be a time when you could do it both. Why people want to get their room cleaned both? It's one of the biggest frustrations I have on a cruise ship. Does anybody even have a clue how hard these room stewards work today? Several years ago, they would have 2 people constantly doing the rooms. They were much more staffing. I don't care what people say. I firmly believe there is a lot less staff on the ships, especially in the cleaning the rooms and the room stewards and stuff. I really don't see as many people out there. We were on the horizon a year, last February it was, and I remember talking to my room steward, and he said he has one person to help him 1 hour a day. Other than that, he had about 20 to 25 rooms he had to do on his own. You know, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And to do that twice in a day, like you go to a hotel anywhere else in the entire world and you went to the front desk and said, oh, by the way, I'd like my room cleaned twice a day. They're going to laugh in your face. I think it just smells of just arrogance, ignorance, I don't know what, misunderstanding of how hard these people are working for you. Why would you possibly want your room cleaned twice a day? Just my opinion, but if you want it done twice, don't start that conversation with me because it will not end well. There is nothing you can say to convince me that it's justifiable to ask for your room to be cleaned twice a day. Having said that, so on the day you get on the ship, sometimes the next morning, depends on how busy they are. They're not going to clean your room the first night because they've cleaned everything during the day for the turnover, and you know how it is on that day. That's a nightmare. So, you know, they work really hard all day, so they get the night off, and then they go the rest of the cruise doing morning and night. So they'll either come and see you on the first day. If they miss you on the first day, they'll catch you the second morning of the cruise and say, do you want your room done in the morning or do you want your room done in the evening? If they don't, find them and tell them. Otherwise, because I've heard sometimes they just default if they can't find you and just do it like in the morning, for example. Personally, we always get it done in the evening. Why? Because simply this. We go out every night. Sometimes we like to sleep in. So if I'm getting it done in the morning, I don't really know what time in the morning it's going to get done. Sometimes I don't get up till noon. You know, if it's been a good old 15-dayer the day before, you know, sometimes I don't get up. So I don't want somebody knocking on my door in the morning. I do remember recently seeing a poll on John Heal's page where he asked when people want their rooms, what they normally ask. And the vast majority of people did say in the morning. So, you know, each to their own. Personally, we do it in the evening. So my point is, it's up to you. But one or the other, please don't ask for it to be done twice. Oh, you'll have the wrath of the suit guy. Look after the crew. Think of their well-being. We actually also tell our steward, he or she, if they have a really busy day, don't worry about doing our room. We can skip a day. It don't matter. We can skip 2 days. It don't matter. Make sure you put a towel animal in the room because Julie likes to collect her towel animals. Other than that, just give us a miss. It's fine. You know, we don't need our room cleaned immaculately every day. Do we do that at home? Hell no, we don't. Clean my room once a week if I'm lucky. You know, not every day. Come on, twice a day. Ha! All right, one more today. Oh, is that? Have we already done 5? All right, maybe we're doing 6. I lost count. Number 29. This is the last one. I got carried away with that. 29. Here we are. If you bring a power cord, can it have a surge protector on it? Topical question, and one I always answer in exactly the same way. I know the answer. I can't explain the answer. I've said this many times. I left school when I was 15. I am not qualified to speak on anything that involves education of any description. All I can do is talk to you from the school of life or things I have seen personally. I know music. I'm pretty good with travel. Other than that, don't ask me a question that has any technology applied to it. Don't ask me anything about physics, biology, none of that. I am useless. I have no qualifications, no education, no exams, no nothing. 15 years old when I left school. School of life, remember that. All I know is, ashore, surge protector is good. At sea, surge protector is bad. That's all I can tell you. Don't ask me to explain why. And I've done this question before, and people have put explanations in the comments. If you want to do that, put it in there. I don't think we really need an explanation, but if you want to do it, go ahead. Just know, ashore good, at sea bad. It's kind of like a reverse thing. I don't know. I also noticed on some ships now, they're banning extension cords. Like Celebrity will not allow extension cords anymore. Carnival, as far as I know, have not said that yet, but they may follow suit. So be aware of that as well. It's a hazard because of tripping and stuff, the cords and cables everywhere. So yes, no surge protectors allowed. So we actually have like a little extension box with like, you know, USB outlets and power outlets on it, but we made sure it does not have a surge protector because I don't want to start a fire and be the one to be blamed for it. Assuming that's what happens. No education. All right. So there we go. That was a few. I've got 2 more weeks worth of these to do, and then hopefully we'll get back to some proper tips because I prefer them where you explain your tips and we can talk about it after I read them. Whereas these are just one-liners and I'm supposed to work it out. So Kelly, I love the idea. I love the idea, but it's making my work really much harder. And as we said, my brain don't work that well sometimes. But anyway, if you like that, subscribe, hit that little bell. You get notifications when all these videos come out. And send me your tips, send me your cruising traditions, and I will use them. I don't read them in advance. I react as I read them live, and then we will go from there. And if you have any questions, please, my email is coming up at the end of this. Send me a question. I would do my best to answer it. If I don't know the answer, I will do my best to find out the answer for you because I don't know everything, as we've discovered. I will see you later, Cruising World. Any questions? Email me anytime. cruisingsuitguy@gmail.com. I promise I'll reply as soon as possible. Want to book a cruise or any type of travel? We are travel agents. Check out our site, elitetravelconnection.com, or email me, mick@elitetravelconnection.com. We are here for you. Finally, subscribe, please. Pretty please. You know you want to. Go on. I won't beg you. Okay, I'm begging. Please. Subscribe. Thank you.